You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and it giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up. Got a lot of shit that's going on. I've been dealing with it all. I've been building, getting stronger. They ain't never leaving me alone. Always calling up my phone, asking for the bankroll. I just had to leave my own city. Got my family on the phone telling me they all miss me. I ain't coming back until I'm on, no. I ain't looking back, no. Never looking back, no. I had to give up.
Dude, they got Christmas stuff out already. What you putting there? Bare shells?
I got no problem.
Man, it's entirely too early for all this. It is October, what is it, the 3rd? Come on now. We're here for one thing, and one thing only. Yep, there you go, nothing but whack shit. Not today, they got ransacked. It's like people been up in here fighting. You don't like none of these? Big plants. Put trees in there. Well, this was another fail for the day. So the first fail was the post office is closed, so we can't drop our packages off. Or her packages.
Our packages.
Here's your package. I ain't ordering none of that stuff.
I like your pockets.
What? This is what you should have got right here. Oh look, they got a little gingerbread person. Look just like you. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It's your boy 728 Autos back with another video. And I got a couple things I want to talk about today, man. As far as mods with the car, how I'm feeling after. This is crazy. I've had this car for almost a year now, which doesn't seem real, but with 2020 and everything, this year went by pretty quick. It's October, y'all. But yeah, man, let me go over a couple things and I'll show you real quick what I'm talking about as far as mods. And let me tell you the number one thing that I'm not going to do. All right, so if we look here, man, if y'all don't know by now, this is my 2018 Ford Mustang Ecoboost. Let me turn this thing off. This is loud. Clickety, clickety, clickety. All right, there we go. Now I can talk to y'all with reasonable sound and what have you. So, you know, first things first, a lot of people get these EcoBoosts and the first thing they want to do is, you know, exhaust and downpipe. So I've already got MagnaFlow exhaust on here. I also have an exhaust cutout, which dumps kind of right over here under the passenger seat. So I get best of both worlds. You know, I can open and close it with the remote. It's pretty nice. So I feel like, you know, you can be real quiet or you can be real loud. But I don't have a downpipe. That might be something I might look into, you know, for upgrades as I go along here. Try to get a little bit more power out of this thing. But another upgrade is to go bigger turbo. So right now I have, you know, factory turbo. You know, basically it's factory everything, except for I did upgrade the intercooler because that's the number one thing that I feel like you should do when you get an EcoBoost. For any of y'all that are out there and thinking about buying one, first thing you got to do day one is replace the tiny little baby intercooler that they give these cars. I don't know what Ford was thinking, but it's not up to the job. It's good for a couple runs and then it just heat soaks the death out of your car and you lose a lot of power. You lose power anyway from it because it's kind of small and it doesn't really do the job very well. But if you live, especially if you live in a hotter climate, I'm in Texas, so it's hot all the time. It's humid every now and then too, so that's not good for a car that has a turbo on it. So you definitely want to get rid of that intercooler. Also, sorry about, you know, all this I got going on, man. Yeah, I've been quarantined. I got the quarantine puff up here, so it just is what it is, man. I can't be no pretty boy for y'all right now, but another upgrade that I see that is really popular right now is air intakes. I have no idea why people are spending $400 plus on an air intake for a turbo car, especially the open element ones. You're just getting a hot air intake basically, and I know they sound better, but don't. You're just gonna be sucking in more hot air, making more work for your turbo, making more work for your intercooler. The factory air box, this is basically the same factory air box as on the GT, except for this pipe here. On the GT, obviously it turns into the throttle body there. This setup here with the cold air, because there's a big funnel right here. I know that's a resonator part that it makes it quiet, but it goes through the front to that vent right there. So it's kind of like how the Dodgers do it nowadays. You have this open hole right here. Air goes straight to the air box. This air box is perfectly fine for up to like 400, 500 horsepower. You don't need to buy a $400 air intake for this. This works just fine. What I would upgrade is if you're going for a bigger turbo, you need to upgrade this pipe here, because the outlet for it would be a lot smaller than many of the upgraded turbo kits on the market. So you might look into doing that. That's not a bad investment. And because you're just changing this piece right here, you don't have to worry about the MAF sensor, stuff like that. Of course, these turbo cars are speed density, so we don't really need to tune or anything for upgraded air intakes and stuff like that. But you know, a lot of these companies will sell you a tune for them, so it is what it is on that front. But if I'm just thinking about pure upgrades to this without throwing a whole bunch of money at it, I don't know if I would really go with an upgraded turbo right now without upgrading the internals of the motor, because at that point, to me, it just seems like it'd be a waste of money, because you're spending like $2,000 for an upgraded turbo plus whatever. Dang, my microphone failed this whole time. Plus whatever it would cost to cost you in labor to have all those parts installed. So my thing is, the newest mods that I've seen that have produced really good gains, even for the stock turbo, would be back here. The upgraded high pressure fuel pump. I've seen a couple of them on the market, and what that would do is that would allow you to run different types of fuel. So you can run, you know, pure EA5, stuff like that. I think that's the main part of the system that gets compromised the most when you're trying to get more horsepower out of this motor, is the fuel system. So if you upgrade the high pressure fuel pump, that'll allow you to have more headroom. You can run more boosts and get the fuel in there safely. And then if you want to, you can do stuff like E85 and stuff like that. And I've seen some really good results. I've seen on the stock turbo alone, now this is on a built motor, I saw this, it was like 417 horsepower and almost 500 wheel torque, which is a lot for a 4-cylinder. So, you know, obviously he had to build the internals up, but if you just even if you're just a little bit conservative and hold to even just a line of like 380 horsepower, you know, in this car, with it being significantly lighter than the Mopars, you probably have equal performance of maybe a Scat Pack at that power level, which I've seen done with the bigger turbo upgrade kits without having the upgraded high pressure fuel pump. But I noticed that the biggest thing that I need to upgrade right now is this fuel sensor. I've seen, which I think is the same fuel sensor that I had on this motor when the old one blew. A lot of people online, a lot of Ecoboost owners, Mustang Ecoboost owners have said that that part right there is the #1 failure point for these motors. It won't send the correct signal to the ECU, letting it know that you know what fuel values are being sent by the high pressure fuel pump, and it won't have the correct fueling, so the engine will ultimately, I think what's happening is they lean out too far, and then you have kablamo. That's my general understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there, but everybody has recommended to upgrade that sensor right there, and so that's the first thing that I'm going to do. Changing it out takes maybe 5-6 minutes, maybe at maximum, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to definitely get rid of that because I want to have that peace of mind that this motor here can last a good long time, because this thing feels a lot stronger than the old one. I think that's probably because I have the upgraded intercooler. I only had this intercooler on here for maybe a week or two before my Ecoboom event with the other motor. So luckily, well, I say luckily, thanks to the pandemic we're in right now, I haven't really put that many miles on this car. So I think that potentially if I would have encountered any new type of issues or something, I probably would have found them a lot sooner, but because I'm not really driving the car, I haven't really had any issues with it. So you know how that goes, you know, you don't drive it, it don't break. But I don't want to be, you know, driving it, you know, a couple months from now or a couple years from now and saying to myself, dang, I should have got that upgraded sensor when something happens to this car and it's not in warranty anymore, you know. But I think we should be all right. All right, guys. So like I said, I've got the dual. It's my version of a dual motor exhaust, basically, because I got the exhaust cut out, and I've got the magnet flow mufflers in the back. So right now I got the cutout open, so I'm just gonna drive around a little bit. I haven't really got any good clips since I had it installed, but I think it sounds okay. It's not the greatest thing in the world. It still sounds like a 4-cylinder, but at least it's a little bit louder. And I'll tell you guys that basically at this point, since it's almost been a year since I had the car, if I were to do like an evaluation of my experience so far with all the, I would say with some of the bad things that I've experienced with this car, which I'll say this for the car, it's still a good daily driver. It's really comfortable. But as far as like a sports car, an enthusiast car, I think that the suspension is just too soft. It's not, I feel like it's not completely finished. I feel like the front suspension is dialed in. The front axle and how it handles as far as the grip up front when you turn is really good. But the back, even though they have this upgraded rear suspension, which is, you know, independent now on the S550s, I feel like it's disjointed for some reason. I think the rear springs are stiff, but the dampers are really soft, and up front the dampers are still kind of soft up front too, and so you get this really bouncy kind of wobbly ride, and it doesn't really inspire confidence. You know, you're driving around and it just always feel like it's kind of pogoing over certain bumps. When you get real aggressive with the driving, the back end just wants to be, you know, everywhere but straight, while the front is kind of glued to the ground, and it's just this really weird feeling. I know it's a Mustang thing, but I'm just not used to it. Maybe I'm just not used to it, but it's all over the place for me, and I don't like it. The interior is really cheap. Even though I have the premium, I've got the power seats, cooled seats, heated seats, you know, the Sync 3. I have issues with that. I have issues with rattles in the door panels, rattles in the center console. The 10-speed transmission is like right under this center console, and it gets hot sometimes. There's all types of weird things that you just kind of have to deal with. I feel like a lot of people that say, oh, well, you should have just got the V8. Well, the V8 wouldn't have fixed all those issues. And, you know, I made a video about issues that I had with my AC going out and all that stuff. You know, the V8 wouldn't have fixed that either. So some people might say, well, shouldn't have got a Ford, should have got, you know, a Chevy, or should have got a Mopar, which Mopar is the popular one right now, but, you know, they have issues too. But at the end of the day, is this a car that I enjoy driving? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When I get in it and I drive it, I can still get a smile on my face and have fun in it, you know. And that's what I bought it for. You know, I bought it to have a car that was fun to drive, rear wheel drive. I love those downshifts, man. They sound so good. My GTI was a fun car too, but it was a different experience because it was front wheel drive. And as good as you can make a front wheel drive car, I feel like that's how the GTI is, but you can't have as much. I want to say there's not a shenanigans factor like that you have with rear wheel drive. You can do donuts and weird, you can do donuts and you can be stupid and have fun with the car. And you know, coming off the line, you have so much more grip, because trying to put, you know, 300 horsepower through 2 front wheels was really difficult. But doing it in a car that's rear wheel drive is so much more controlled. I say controlled, but then I'm talking about a Mustang, so as controlled as the Mustang can be. But this car leaves the line so much harder than my GTI did. So my complaints are just like first world problems, you know. I'm over here bitching about a car that I bought that I knew was gonna have certain issues, but I bought it anyway, so, you know, that's just me. But I love the downshifts though. With that valve open, they just sound so much better, man. And on this car, even still, I've gotten kind of used to the Mustang nature of it, so you can kind of predict what it's going to do, and you can feel what's happening behind you, you know, in the seat of your pants. You know, if it starts getting a little squirrely, you can easily correct it. When I first had the car, I was overcorrecting and stuff like that, but now I'm kind of used to it. Right at the top there is like where you get this little bit of raspiness. Right there, it's just kind of, it sounds like a 4-cylinder, right? And then when you really, really get on it, it gets really raspy. And I don't know if I like that or not. I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. But the downshifts though, that's one thing that I like, man. This 10-speed, even though it's got 1,000,000 gears, it's quick to react, and it almost feels like the dual clutch. Almost feels like the dual clutch. So you can upshift and downshift like 1,000 times like you're in the Fast and the Furious movie, basically. But yeah, I think with a couple more mods, I think this car will be where I want it to be. I think I might, you know, after I get the alignment done again and see if that fixes maybe the issue with, I add these big old 20-inch wheels on the car, so it tram lines a lot. What tram lining is that every little crack in the road, the car wants to just follow it really aggressively. And I think that's because of the larger wheels and tires that I have on here now. So I'll see if I can kind of dial some of that out with an alignment. And then if not, I might look into maybe doing coilovers and lower the car. I don't want to lower it too much. That's why I want to do coilovers, because I can pick the height and I can make the ride softer, or I can make it firmer, depending on, you know, what I think. And I think that might fix some of the issues that I feel with the suspension being kind of, you know, disjointed. I know there's a lot of good coilover kits out there that offer better than factory ride, because this car, even though it's a premium, I don't have the adaptive dampers and stuff like that. So the way it rides is the way it rides. But I think that might fix some of the things that I still kind of sort of don't like, man. But let me do, you know, once this light turns green, I'll give it a little bit of juice for you guys, and then, you know, that'll be the end of the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's kind of lengthy, it's kind of a lot of me talking and stuff like that, but if you made it this far, man, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and share the video if you know anybody that might be able to benefit from my analysis, you know what I'm saying. But green light, green light. Yeah, see, that's the thing, when I do stuff like that, I get so hyped. Like that was I can't tell you how fast I was going. I don't want to incriminate myself, but that number, yeah. Anyway, y'all, man, like I said, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.
Got a lot of shit that's going on. I've been dealing with it all. I've been building, getting stronger. They ain't never leaving me alone. Always calling up my phone, asking for the